And Representative Ron DeSantis joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So let me get this straight. While Iran is calling us deceitful, basically liars, devilish is one word in tweets, saying that in order to have a deal, they must lift the sanctions immediately, but the U.S. says that's not going to happen, and saying that the military would be off the limits in terms of inspections. And meanwhile, the U.S. is insulting our allies on Twitter, picking on Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do we have a deal with Iran?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, I hope we don't have a deal along the lines of what the Ayatollah wants. I mean, what the Ayatollah is basically saying is that the United States needs to totally surrender to everything Iran wants. And I've been very critical of the deal, as President Obama has explained it, because I think that provides, essentially legitimizes Iran's nuclear program. I don't think the inspections would be effective. There would be military sites that would be totally off limit, and then it would sunset in 10 years, so it essentially paves Iran's path to the bomb. So that's, as the White House understands it, the deal I think will go over like a lead balloon in Congress. And then when you have the Ayatollah making these comments, I mean, come on, is this somebody that we're going to want to do business with? The sanctions relief that he wants will allow Iran to foment all type of mischief throughout the Middle East, as they are doing now, and that's something that's not good for our national security.
You know what I think is the biggest deal breaker out of these two, the news today, the two being, one is to lift the sanctions immediately, because the U.S. has never indicated that it would lift the sanctions immediately. But the bigger problem is the military sites will be off limits to inspections, because remember what they did, what Iran did with Fodor, which is the underground enrichment facility that we didn't even know about for years, and they tricked us. Why in the world could we ever, how could we possibly agree that Iran could have these, spots that we could never check out?
And why do you need, under the administration's explanation, Fordo, this underground fortified facility, would still be able to be running? They would say, oh, it's just a nuclear research site. Well, why would you need to have an underground fortified site if you're just conducting academic research? And the president laid down a red line on Fordo a year and a half ago. He said they don't need Fordo. Any final deal has got to get rid of Fordo, and yet there it is.
Am I being distracted by this White House tweet insulting Prime Minister Netanyahu, or does it have some significance?
I think it has some significance. For whatever reason, the president does not get along with the Prime Minister of Israel. Israel's our best ally in the region, and I think you need to get over whatever type of personal animosity you may have for another leader on that level and look at what the interests of our countries are. Prime Minister Netanyahu has a very small country, and this Ayatollah says they want to wipe them off the map. So, yes, he's been very involved in this, and he wants to make sure that a bad deal is not agreed to. But can you honestly blame him? And for them to keep trying to needle him, I think it's bad for the relationship between our two countries, and I definitely don't think it's productive in terms of trying to get Congress to see things your way.
Well, I guess I would be much prouder of the administration if they were having conversations with Netanyahu directly, any of their disagreements, and they may have big disagreements, but the idea that they get so petty and take to social media to insult him, I don't see how that in any way advances anything, but it makes us look really bad, and I think it makes the administration look really bad.
I concur, and it's just not the way to conduct diplomacy. And our relationship with Israel, with this White House, is at really an all-time low, and I think that that's just very unfortunate.
Congressman, thank you.